everyone, it's Free Comic Book Day. Guess what that means?
Iron Man 4?
No! America! America! Fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah! America! Fuck yeah! Freedom is the only way.
Happy Free Comic Book Day, everyone.
Happy Free Comic Book Day!
Oh, come on, he didn't hit you that hard.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Well, as you can see, we're all set. Yes, and Captain America over here, looking kind of sickly.
I had a dose of gamma radiation. Little angry. just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little.
And I'm the Iron Patriot, I guess. Yeah.
No, we'll have none of that this year.
No.
No, thank God. No, this year we have a good Marvel movie. Good Marvel movie.
In Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
And I gotta say, like, I thought the first Captain America was great. This one's even better.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny, because I never saw the first Captain America movie until recently. And what I find interesting about both just the Captain America movies, not counting the Avengers, even though that does kind of count as part of the continuity in the grand scheme of things, but like the first Captain America movie was this whole, let's go give Hitler a knuckle sandwich, and we're gonna stop the Nazis, and that's what they did, and stop Hydra along with it because they want to take over the world now. And then we go to this one with the Winter Soldier, and it's this 70s espionage kind of what is it? Conspiracy theory thing, which is, with like Hydra like overshadowing it.
Conspiracy, man.
But what I like about it is that I didn't necessarily need to see the first film to understand what's going on. I mean, if you've seen the Avengers, you're pretty much all caught up. But
It makes it that much better.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like that the first one they did what they did with all the recent superhero movies by giving a more darker tone, but they don't make it so dark that it's just unwatchable. Like, they make it dark in the sense that it's more refined. Like Captain America, he's still a Boy Scout, but he's not like an insufferable Boy Scout
no.
like how Superman used to be or anything like that. And yeah, like the action's good, the villains are great. Captain America, I actually like a lot. I think he does a good job as an actor. And I also like the fact that they don't make Captain America emo. Like, they could have easily made it so that he was like all dark and brooding, is like, everyone I knew
really
was dead.
optimistic.
Yes.
Yeah, he like actually embraces the future. He has a list of things that he wants to
I'll
check
put that
out.
on the list.
Yeah, stuff to check out.
I know, like, it just keeps getting longer and longer and longer. He has like this little mini notebook of everything.
Actually, an interesting thing I saw online is that they changed the list for every country that they show the movie in.
Really?
Yeah, like they show the list for when it's shown in Russia, and they added things like Vladimir Putin and the Communist Party or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like they basically, like, a lot of them were sort of similar, where they talked about like they mentioned like Steve Jobs and like Apple products and certain musicians and stuff, like Beatles. So some of it's the same, but others, like, they kind of adhere to the the culture that's being shown in.
Right.
So I thought it was a nice little nod, maybe a little unnecessary, especially given that it's being shown in America. And
it takes place in America.
Yeah, but I guess maybe the references would have gone over some other countries' heads.
Yeah.
That is true. But it's like it's a minor detail, but a pretty good nod. Knowing that they are respecting each region. Yeah, I gotta say, like, this movie, like, when it first started off really strong, like, but it just shows Captain America running around Washington D.C. and of course, being the superhuman freak he is, he passes this guy running like 10 times. He's like, on
and
your
he,
left.
and he and this guy they sort of strike up a friendship.
Yeah, him
Well, like,
and...
they spark up
Yeah.
just a casual conversation, and I was like surprised at how natural it felt. Like, it didn't feel scripted. It didn't feel like they were trying to edge any exposition in there or anything that would seem weird if people were talking in like real life. Like, it actually felt really, really natural, and I really liked it.
I like the fact that they also didn't play the whole thing that Captain America is from another time, that he was frozen in time, and he's like, oh, he's like, he still hasn't quite yet fully adjusted to that current time frame, but they didn't.
No, they did that in Avengers.
Oh yeah,
they did that in Avengers.
They did,
and it wasn't even like that big of a thing. It was.
Yeah, but I'm glad that they didn't continue that into this film. Like they just dropped. It's like he's been around for a while.
Yeah, like I was kind of afraid that they were gonna do a scene where like they show him in like a computer store or something, and he's like looking weirdly at the computer and holding up the mouse, or trying to figure out some sort of modern piece of technology. But they don't do that at all in this film.
Yeah, it's odd. Like the other characters seem to treat him like a relic, but he himself is like he's just gonna get on with the times.
He's just one of them. And,
yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned the computer thing, because later in the movie when they're on the run.
They go in the Apple Store.
They go into the Apple Store and they're trying to find stuff. They're trying to like get into like Shield, like these encrypted files or whatever. And Captain America is just like, what? And like, oh, it's just a computer. So like he's got enough exposure to it. Plus, given that Shield has like the most advanced computers in the world, so like Apple's like, really?
Bitch, please. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much like it's mostly about him trying to, settle in and sort of start a new life. Like, it's obviously difficult because, again, almost everybody he knows is probably dead.
Or,
or at least really, really old.
Yeah.
And, of course, he has a lot to catch up on, but they don't linger on that too much. Like, they always bring up the fact that, he must be lonely and, he might need companionship or whatever, but he just, like...
Black Widow keeps trying to hook him
up.
up.
Oh, my God.
It's a nice running gag, though.
Yeah.
It's like, what about that girl from accounting? The one with the... It's like, shouldn't you be focusing on the mission? I'm multitasking.
Yeah, one of the first things we see is they go on, like, this covert mission where, a ship that was owned by S.H.I.E.L.D. gets captured by terrorists, and they have to try to free the hostages. And it's pretty cool. Reminds me a lot of like Solid Snake or something like that.
Like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
or Splinter Cell. It actually reminded me a lot of Splinter Cell because I think in one of the games there is a level almost exactly like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I won't talk too much.
But I remember when we were discussing this after I saw it, was that you didn't like it because it was like, oh, it's Captain America sneaking around and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's different from like in the first film where like he was out, let's go in there and shoot him up. Here, it's a different type of situation. I mean, obviously you're gonna need stealth.
And to be fair, that's really the only time he's sneaking around.
Yeah, that's true.
Aside from when he's evading certain other enemies, but I mean, it doesn't take up a lot of the movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a nice little mission, like something they could easily turn into a video game.
Mm.
And so yeah, they go in, they free the hostages. That too.
Yeah.
And they free the hostages. Black Widow gets like some sort of information that she passes off to Nick Fury, who it turns out had like a secret agenda to the whole thing. Because apparently there was like top secret information that he wasn't like privy to. And so, of course, at this point they kind of rub in the fact that there are major trust issues when it comes to Nick Fury, which, of course, why wouldn't there be? Because I mean, like, for the most part, like, they do fill in Captain America about what they plan to do, about what's going on, but a lot of other, like, inner workings are still sort of kept away from him. Like, they didn't inform him at all about the fact they were, recovering information, and that pissed him off for some reason.
Because he felt that he wasn't in the loop. Because he felt like, oh, I thought our focus was to rescue the hostages. But no, apparently there's this whole other thing that we have to recover information. It's like how come I wasn't informed of this? How come? Because it's like, no, you're only privy. No, the information you're only privy to a certain amount of information. That information was for you to free the hostages. You didn't have to worry about this other thing. And
it's called compartmentalizing.
Yeah, and he didn't like, and Captain America didn't like that. Like, no. It's like, no, that's not right. That's not right. And then later in a scene, like when he's talking to Nick Fury mentions these giant, like, flying battleships, which basically what they are. Like, there's these hover, like kind
of a little bigger than a 22.
A little bigger. I would say bigger than the
helicarriers that bring Avengers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's why it was like that. But they have like more guns and like you could like pinpoint exact people down to.
Yeah, like you can they make it so that the guns can identify DNA, so like they can actually pinpoint the exact terrorist they're looking for and just shoot them on sight.
Like they could shoot a wing off a fly if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And Cap is like.
Cap's like,
no,
dude, this is not.
This is too much. And then they're sort of arguing,
about the morality of it.
When you were a soldier, you had to do stuff like this. It's like, we had to do stuff that made us sleep not that well, but it was nothing in compared to this.
Yeah, I don't know. I take a little issue with that because while I like Captain America, the new way that they've portrayed him now, like it still annoys me that he's that much of a do-gooder. Like, he's not even willing to bend the rules even a little bit, not even willing to just, sort of like do like little things, like even if it's like just a covert operation, like, I mean, he gets mad because they were taking information. I mean, I can understand if, she was sent in to secretly assassinate somebody, but she was just getting information.
More of his issue is that, I think it does go back to how he was, trained, how, everybody's supposed to be aware of what everybody else is doing, and this is sort of a new way of thinking, and he can't really get quite behind it. But it's more of the morality that really is like the final straw.
Yeah, as to, is this really too much? Is this really too much, as far as, like, it's like, in the sake, for the sake of protection. And it's funny because they also kind of play on that a little. I think they play that off a little bit later on when Shield ultimately gets compromised. And the Winter Soldier shows up and starts killing people, and all of a sudden Captain America becomes most wanted because of, I can't remember why, but.
Because he was holding information.
Yeah, he was holding. Yeah.
Or they assumed he was holding information.
Well, we'll get to that part. Yeah, because at one point the tide starts turning. It goes from just being about Captain America living day to day to revealing that there's actually a conspiracy going on within S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury finds this out when he tries to unlock the information, and it won't let him through. So he knows that this could possibly be relating to the plan they have going with the giant ships. So he tries to get it delayed. And he goes to his buddy, what was his name?
I think it was like a senator.
Yeah, he goes to his friend, and is like, because he talks to all of those heads of S.H.I.E.L.D., all those like faceless people you see in
Avengers. But they're not faceless anymore, and I like how they've upgraded from the faceless people who live in poorly lit rooms that take over the world to they actually have a face and they represent different countries. Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty much like sort of a diplomat in a way, I guess, between them. So he says, "Okay, I'll try to buy you time and put off the plan for now." So Fury goes to figure out what's going on, and he gets fucking attacked by the police. And pretty much at this point, for about, I think, 10 minutes straight, it's like Fury trying to escape from the police who like want him dead. Like, they whip out a freaking machine gun, they whip out a freaking battering ram to get him out of
rocket launchers.
Yeah.
And, like, they just go all out.
Though, like, his car is
like
pretty fortified, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, he does get a badass scene, though, where, like, just as they're about to break through, he, like, whips out a gun and just freaking shoots through the window.
And then, like, a mini machine gun that just, like, pops out, and the passenger side just, like, And then there's this epic like car chase that goes through all the streets of DC, and then ultimately it ends up with the Winter Soldier finally taking him down, but then gets compromised because I think was it Black Widow or was it Captain America that came in and stopped to?
No, the Winter Soldier, who's like a secret assassin, shows up. He, manages to like destroy, like sort of like incapacitate the van. Somehow manages to like cut a laser.
Oh yeah, he cuts a laser through the whole and goes into the sewers and escapes. And
I still don't understand how he does that, but whatever.
I got confused. I'm sorry. But so then, and then he meets up in. He breaks into Captain America's apartment.
Yeah, and he's all like, "My wife kicked me out," and he's
like, he shows stuff was like, "Shield has been compromised." Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like trying to convey the message, that
the walls have ears.
The room's been bugged.
Mm.
Yeah, and then like as he's like getting close to giving more information, he gets freaking shot. Like.
And then it's revealed that one of Cap's neighbors is a
agent of Shield.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they take Nick Fury to the hospital where he dies. Spoiler.
Bullshit!
Yeah, please.
This isn't even a spoiler.
No.
I'm literally calling bullshit.
Yeah.
Because even when I first saw this, I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
They kill off... I'm like, no.
No,
I'm calling bullshit.
I did not believe it for a second. And that is one of the big problems that I had with this movie and comics in general, is that this is the death fake out. It's now become overused.
Like when Professor Xavier died in X-Men 3.
It has become so overused to the point where now when it's coming, and that they're not really going to. It was cool in The Dark Knight because it worked, but here
because
it's
people stay dead in The Dark Knight.
In this, it's like, no. First off, it's too early in the movie for you to kill him off and have it and actually be dead. I mean, for God's sake, you were supposed to have killed off Coulson, but now we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he's alive.
I know, that's what I was going to say. They couldn't kill off Coulson. What makes you think they're going to kill off...
and he took a freaking spear through the chest.
Seriously, movie. Don't underestimate our intelligence. Mm-hmm. We've seen this. Find a better way to get around this.
Plus, I don't think there was enough movies for Nick Fury to be in to have him just killed off just like that. There hasn't been enough time for that. If maybe after the second Avengers movie comes out, maybe they can think of possibly killing off Nick Fury. But even then, it's like Nick Fury is just a character who's just like. He's there, but he's not like a main...
He's a catalyst for bringing characters together.
I know, and that's what he is. So, I mean, yeah, he's cool, he's badass, he has his badass moments, but we haven't... I don't think there has been enough of emotional build-up for Nick Fury for us to, for when he finally does die, we actually give a crap about it. Because here it's just like, really? It's like, it's Nick Fury, we know.
We know he's not going to go out like that.
Yeah. So, Fury dies, and now his friend, I'm just calling it Diplomat because, like I said, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
It was he was played by what's his name? Oh, I know the name of the guy, but the senator, I guess.
Yeah, he wants to speak to Captain America since he's the one that last saw him alive. Mm-hmm. So, but here's the thing: before Fury died, he gave him this USB. And he said, trust nobody. So, Captain America, with his brilliant mind, decides, hey, I'm going to hide this till I know for sure what's going on. Where does he hide it?
A vending machine.
Yeah, no one will ever notice. It's not like people don't like bubblegum.
I mean, it's not like our friend Fred couldn't use his vending machine powers to get
the USB drive out.
Point is,
anybody Best Buy vending machines.
Anybody with a blunt object who happened to catch this in the out of the peripheral of their eyes it's not safe. No.
Yes.
And even freaking Black Widow calls him out on it.
Oh, because Black Widow's the one who eventually takes it out of them. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so he goes to the guy who is, asking him about information on Fury and, what happened when he got shot, if he saw who the killer was. And, of course Captain America says that, he doesn't know and that he's not supposed to trust anybody. And then pretty much as soon as he gets on the elevator, it's revealed that all of S.H.I.E.L.D. has turned against him. And
because they assume that he has the information about that he is the man who killed Nick Fury because he was the last guy who saw him.
yeah, now you see, I can sort of believe, but not believe this because I can believe that they may suspect him because when they're questioning him, he's not, Captain America's not exactly clear when he answers them.
Yeah,
It makes it sound. He doesn't say "Hey, I just showed up at my apartment and he was there." Mm-hmm. He never once says that. He just keeps sort of talking "Yeah, he was there, but I can't tell you why." Mm-hmm. It's yeah, that doesn't sound suspicious or anything.
Not to mention the scene that with him on the elevator goes on way too long, about 1 or 2 minutes too long. Because they basically, they go in, it's they have the one agent's I'm sorry that, that Nick died and you had to deal with that. And then they show, Captain America's, looking around. He sees the one guy with the bead of sweat. And, every floor, it seems like another person. It's
they keep adding more and more people. It's
we get it. We know what's coming.
It's
just
get on.
Get on with it. Just do it already.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is when they reveal that Captain America has turned against them, I just can't help but think okay, who exactly is going to believe that? Who is going to believe that Captain America, one of the biggest Boy Scouts out there in terms of superheroes, would turn on S.H.I.E.L.D. like that? Especially when Fury has gone out of his way to keep stuff from him, because of his moral dilemmas and. Has even, had him tracked and bugged.
You know who would be? You know who? J. Jonah Jameson.
Maybe he has pictures of Spider-Man.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, Captain America's on the run.
And they have to try to figure out what the heck is the information is on this USB drive. So he meets up with Black Widow, and Black Widow and Captain America go on the run, and they try to find some way to access the USB. So they go into a mall and go to an Apple store, and that doesn't work. So they go, but then they trace it. They go to this one training facility, the training facility where Captain America was trained
in New Jersey.
I forgot where they said specifically in New Jersey, somewhere. I forgot where. It's South Jersey, but regardless.
Anyway.
That's something that sort of bothered me is when they reveal that Captain America's gone rogue. They're saying okay, I want eyes on all security cameras. I want eyes on all the streets and all the back streets. I want reports every minute. If anybody tweets about this guy, let me know. And then the two of them just stroll into an Apple store and both have the time to look up the information and then walk out without being noticed.
Well, they pretty much say they're on a time crunch because as soon as she puts the USB port in, and then
tracing.
I know that, but I'm saying as soon as they figure out where the signal is coming from, you think that being S.H.I.E.L.D., they would override the security cameras and catch them in the store. But no, not once do they ever do that. Instead, they sit in a SWAT teams that are known to the both of them, which they are easily able to avoid. And they're really not disguised much. They're she's wearing a wool hat, he's wearing a cap and glasses.
She's wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, she's wearing a hoodie. It's this was pretty much put in because, they pretty much, made it clear that Black Widow wants Captain America's cock. They keep putting up all the instances where she's they're coming. Put your arm around me. What? It's oh, they're coming this way. Kiss me. What? Kiss me. And then, like, she later questions, like, so, was that your first kiss from, like, 1944? Oh,
Maybe 90, but I'm not dead.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, I just found that whole scene a little hard to believe, because, again, this is S.H.I.E.L.D. They should be able to, like, they're supposed to be better than, like, the FBI. They should be able to, like, track them no matter where they go, and yet they're able to get out of the mall so easily. That's just an issue I had, but... Yeah, getting to the secret base you were talking about.
Alright, the secret base, which actually turns out to be where the original location of S.H.I.E.L.D. was, where it originally started, as he finds out, and they go into this, like, secret elevator that's there, and they go down to the very basement, and there's this room of just old computers, like we're talking, like, big, like, these big things that take up, like, a lot of space with, like, the tape, with the tapes, and you know, and there's like a whole room dedicated to it, and there's maybe like a few screens, but the rest is like these big giant machines or whatever. Mm-hmm. And what it is that there happens to be a USB port. Somehow, even though the technology is from like 1960.
Well, you figure with S.H.I.E.L.D. being compromised, they'd eventually want to talk to this computer, which it contains the brain,
the consciousness
of the Hydra agent.
The Hydra doctor from the first film, which is why watching the first film is actually important, because that guy was in the first film. Mm-hmm. He was like the Red Skull's right hand man at the time, and in between the movies, he defected over to S.H.I.E.L.D. when S.H.I.E.L.D. started out because they needed brilliant minds. And
I don't think he really defected. I think they...
No, at the time they were like...
Oh yeah, that's right.
They wanted German... They realized that they sort of needed like German scientists, and in return for them giving over their work and research, they would be granted amnesty from war crimes.
Yes. Oh yeah, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically he has been in the initiation of S.H.I.E.L.D. and pretty much he's started a splinter group of Hydra from within, and it's basically culminated into this.
And what it is that they're trying to make the world more and more dangerous to the point where they will have no choice but to
reboot
but to have like all these massive like machines and stuff. Mm-hmm. Basically what Hydra was designed to do, but in the form of S.H.I.E.L.D. Overshadowing it. So that was basically what they were trying to do. So Hydra is kind of like doing it from within, which I thought was actually pretty cool, and it does tie in with the first side. Like, you cut off one head, but two more will replace, and exactly that's what happened. Mm-hmm. They just planted the seed of Hydra within S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. That was actually pretty cool, and they play on the whole morality thing. It's like, it's the reason why it's because Hydra is secretly taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. And they're secretly trying to take over the world, like what they were trying to do back in World War II.
Yeah, I like that whole explanation. Like, I do question though, because here's the thing: like the scientist, he's talking to them through the computer. Like he has downloaded his mind into the computer from back in 1972. I question that. It's like, we can't even do that now in 2014, and yet he was able to do it back in 1972.
But Johnny Depp was able to do that in Transcendence.
That's set in the future.
But you ruined my joke. Damn it.
But this is a comic book movie.
I know this is a comic book movie. So, and S.H.I.E.L.D. has advanced technologies. I mean, this is the same organization that somehow have a USB port in a room where all the other technology, all the other computers are based from like 1963.
Well, and somehow they're compatible.
As I said, they probably had people going in every now and then to update a little bit. I mean, they pretty much kept all the computers around, but they probably little by little modified them, or made it so that it would link up with the USB if they needed to talk to the guy.
Yeah.
So.
I I don't know, like, that's a bit of a stretch. I know it's a comic book movie,
Yeah,
but that's
but-
a bit of a stretch. Come on.
It's about the only possible logic there could be to it. But anyway.
Oh, one thing of note, like, something that I noticed, and I don't know if this was ever mentioned in the other movies, but he revealed how, as Hydra slowly took over S.H.I.E.L.D., certain members would, like, find out about their info or get too close to finding out about it, and then they would stage accidents, and they actually showed Howard Stark. Like, they showed a newspaper of him dying in a car accident. And the thing is, I don't remember if they ever mentioned that at all in the other Iron Man movies, because they never did say how his dad died.
I don't think Howard Stark was his dad. I think that was his grandfather.
No, that was his dad.
Wait, is Howard Stark Tony?
Yes, that's his
Okay.
dad.
Alright.
Which could... So, like, I'm wondering if maybe they're going to explore that later on.
In Iron Man 4?
Yeah, because now they added a whole new element that, like, his dad didn't just die. He was set up and
He was
killed.
set up by Hydra, and, like, you know, the Hydra agent, you know...
Like, I know it's probably not a big, like, plot point or anything, but I just thought that was interesting. You know, a little tidbit might come up maybe if they do another Iron Man movie, which they probably will.
They probably... More likely.
A Tony Stark movie.
I think they do plan on Iron Man 4, but not for a few years yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... But then, Betrayal!
Betrayal!
Well, not really, because he was evil anyway. It turns out that the scientists sent out a signal to S.H.I.E.L.D., who comes over and bombs the crap out of the secret base. And, of course, we're using the power of his shield. He and Captain America and Black Widow are able to survive.
Yeah.
Even having tons of rubble falling down upon them and blazing heat from explosion, they somehow survive.
Seriously, the shield in this movie is too much.
It's the Deus Ex Machina.
No, it's not even that. It's just you would think that even if you use the shield to protect you from really big blasts, you'd still feel like the shock of it a little bit.
The shockwave of it.
Yeah, you'd at least be somewhat affected by it, even if it wasn't like a huge pain. You know, you jump from a great height and land on the disc. Yeah, it's gonna take the brunt, but you're still gonna feel that in your legs. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they really... It was like
It's
really...
nothing.
No, it was just, what's the...
Defying physics?
It took me out of the movie a couple of times. It really... What's the phrase? It's like, my suspension of disbelief, was called into question a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, I know Captain America's a super soldier and everything, but there's a difference between withstanding things because of your enhanced abilities and just plain defying the laws of physics.
Mm-hmm.
And he does that quite a number of times in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they managed to survive, and S.H.I.E.L.D., for whatever reason, does not scavenge the site or look for body heat signatures or any of that stuff, which I know that they are capable of doing. So they managed to escape, and where do they go?
They go to that one best friend from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, the guy that he met at the very beginning, who he was running with, was like an ex-soldier. And they have a few scenes together throughout the beginning. You know, they get to know each other. Turns out the guy had lost a partner in a battle, and that's why he doesn't serve anymore. And he's trying to do good through another means.
Yeah, he's working for the VA and stuff like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he's made it pretty clear that hey, I may be a soldier, but I kind of want the quiet life. I want to do things normally and help people through non-violent means and everything. So what does Captain America do? He goes to his house, unannounced, and says, "Hey, dude, people are trying to kill us. Can we crash here?"
And to make matters worse, okay, so now, not only is he, making this guy an accessory, but now he's also divulging information in front of him. You've not only made him an accessory, you've made him a target.
Yeah, that really raised some questions, especially since Nick Fury said, like, his last dying words were,
Trust
nobody, and yet here is Captain America and Black Widow, you know, after cleaning up and all that, is like, okay, so here's how we're gonna take down S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm like, no! What are you doing?
Go into another room, for crying out loud!
The place could be bugged for all you know.
But it's not as bad as all that in reality, because the guy that they meet is actually really on the level, and he's willing to help them out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about to become one of your favorite characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he worked on a special project and has a special weapon as a result of it. He worked on Project
Falcon!
Yeah, so he agrees to help out, as long, you know, provided that they help him get what he needs.
You better respect the Falcon!
So yeah.
My costume sucks!
See, that's what confused me, because I thought, because I remember from the Robot Chicken sketch, I thought it was a DC character. I didn't know he was Marvel.
It was Marvel.
Because, but anyway.
In fact, I haven't really watched the show much, but in this new animated program, Avengers Assemble, they actually added the Falcon in. It's like a different character, but it's still the Falcon.
Yeah, so they come up with a plan to break into S.H.I.E.L.D., but in order to do that, they need access through one of the higher-ups. So they track down this one guy, one of the hostages they rescued from the ship, who turns out was in on the whole thing. And they convince him to help in the most hilarious way possible. They throw him off a roof.
Because I'm Batman!
Wrong movie.
Captain America. because America.
No, but this time the guy doesn't fall and break his leg like in Dark Knight.
No.
In this case, like, they bring him on top of a building, and he's like, you're gonna tell us what we want to know, and then, like, seems like he's gonna throw him up, and he's like, you're Captain America, you'd never do that. And he's like, yeah, I wouldn't do that, but she would. And then you see Falcon come in all his glory with his big giant fucking mechanical wings, and I'm like, yes! Yes! Oh god, I love his costume. I love his
costume is pretty badass.
They could have easily made it look really stupid, but no, it looks awesome.
Yes.
It's simple
no
and
Jamaican
badass.
colors in sight.
It's simple and badass. It's like a giant jetpack with wings. And, you know, what can you go wrong?
Oh god, I want that fucking I want it so bad. Yeah, so they get the aid of the guy who says, hey, what you're doing is suicide here, you're not going to get far, we're all going to get killed, and they're like, hey, we're sure as hell going to try. But as they're driving there, they get attacked.
Ambushed, yeah.
Yeah. S.H.I.E.L.D., of course, finds them, about fucking time, and, so there's, like, this whole big, like, chase scene on the highway, and eventually the Winter Soldier shows up and, like, totally incapacitates the car, and then they end up all jumping over the side of the bridge, and it goes onto the street, and it's, like, fucking mass chaos.
And then Captain America finally goes one-on-one with the Winter Soldier.
And it's a good fight scene, but the camera work leaves something to be desired.
Yeah.
Fucking shaky cam.
It's one of those cases.
It's not the case of really a lot of shaky cam. It's more quick editing.
And it's close up. It's like
it's close up, and it's a lot of quick editing, and it doesn't really. It doesn't. It's very hard to follow the fight.
It's very discombobulating to the senses.
Keep the camera still. I can't see shit.
Like, if they had it from farther away, it would have been better. But the fact that they have it so close up, it's very disorienting. But, I mean, it doesn't change the fact that the fighting is awesome.
Yeah, the fighting is awesome. If you
their combat it's great. It's really great.
Well, they do it better, and they do have one more fight near the end, and that was actually filmed better than this.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
But in the midst of the fight, we find out who the Winter Soldier really is.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right now. This was a huge problem. I know there are some people who don't really complain about this, but I think it's just enough. everybody already knows who it is.
Yeah.
They already told you who it was in the beginning of the movie because they have a scene where he goes into the Smithsonian to look at this exhibit on Captain America. And they mention Bucky. They go out of their way to mention Bucky. If this is not... Yeah. If this is not...
It also helps to see the first film because you watch the first movie, Bucky... In the first movie, they're on a train. Captain America and Bucky are on a train. And at one point, Bucky is hanging on to the side of the train and Captain America's trying to grab him. And Bucky falls off the train, down a cliff. And it follows the old cliche that just because you fall off a cliff does not necessarily mean you're dead.
To be honest, I had kind of forgotten that scene from the first movie a little bit.
Well,
I sort of remembered it, but I forgot that it was Bucky that died.
That's right, they recap it once they reveal who the Winter Soldier is, which
Point
is Bucky.
Is, Point is, everybody already knew. It's already established. Everybody can figure it out.
And even if you read people who read the comics know that the Winter Soldier is Bucky because that's in the comics.
They did the same exact storyline in the Avengers TV show.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, like the one that was running on Nick. I forget.
On Disney XD.
Like Earth's Mightiest Heroes or something. Yeah. They had the same exact plot going on where he was like a secret assassin and they discovered he was Bucky and then they tried to help him get his memory back. That was a whole big thing during that series and they do the same exact thing with this.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that they keep trying to have him in the shadows, hiding his face. And it's like...
They keep making him look like a ninja. And actually he kind of looks a little like Raiden from Metal Gear Solid. Like from the Metal Gear Solid series. Seriously, they're getting a lot of inspiration from Metal Gear Solid. But like just as like the mask and the long flowing hair above it, I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of Raiden from Metal Gear Solid. More recently, Metal Gear Rising. Like that game, just because of the look, because of had the ninja mask with the long flowing hair going out of it, that kind of thing, and the
point is
slim suit, that kind of thing.
The point that I'm trying to make here is that we could have easily gone from a 2-hour and 30-minute movie
to
a 2-hour movie easily by cutting a lot of these in the shadow scenes, a lot of these fake outs, a lot of these. There was a lot of stuff that was just so overdone, and it's like, yes, the movie is good, but there were times where you're really feeling it. You're really feeling the length.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the Winter Soldier is really not that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
As a character,
he granted he's a very good assassin, but other than that, there's nothing else special about it. And the thing is, I think the creators kind of realized sort of how forgettable Bucky is by the sheer fact that they actually showed his face on, the posters for Captain America, on the assumption that nobody will remember who this guy is, so it will become a shock when they realize, oh yeah, it was that guy in the first film, the one who supposedly died.
Yeah. Hey, creators, there's this little thing called the internet. Everybody uses it.
We kind of know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, no big surprise. Turns out to be Bucky, and he doesn't know who Cap is. He pretty much has no memory of his former life, but after his fight with Cap, then suddenly stuff starts coming back to him, and he starts acting out, and then they're like, oh, subject's acting all remembery. Okay, shot.
Blank out his memory again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, rewind. Let's keep this going.
Oh, but it's painful. It's a painful process they go through to... these guys have no sympathy for him, whatever.
It's fucking Hydra, of course.
I know, but
I know.
This guy's, in pain, making noises, making faces, and they just sort of, brush it off like it's nothing.
Again, it's Hydra. They worked for the Nazis. They probably operated in the concentration camps. Yeah.
They were the Nazis. They just broke away from that because they realized, oh, we have all this, because we have the Tesseract, so therefore we can take over Germany and then the world. And
of course. Right. So Captain America, Black Widow, Falcon, they all get captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. And, and of course it turns out it was the senator all along who was the big bad guy.
I never would have.
And he was teaming up with Senator Gary Shandling from Iron Man 3. I mean, no, seriously, it's the same guy. It's Gary Shandling. He was in Iron Man 3. I'm pretty sure of it.
You mean the rich, white, powerful man was the villain all along? Who could have seen that? So yeah, they all get shackled up. They're on their way back to home base, and then weird coincidence. One of their guards turns out to be a double agent, and it's actually someone who worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. legitimately. She breaks them out. Again, they cut their way out of the truck and escaped through the sewers.
Again.
Somehow, again. They go through the sewers, and who's there?
Nick Fury.
You're alive? I was so thinking you were dead. Not.
It's not like I was totally calling bullshit earlier about your death, because there's no way in hell they're going to kill off such a popular character so early in the Marvel movie series.
And what makes it even worse is they try to explain how he, faked his death, and I'm like, no, you don't even need to. You're Nick Fury. You don't need to explain.
I'm just gonna believe that you can get shot and never die.
Yeah.
That would have been fine. Or that you're a mutant, like the X-Men, but that's fine too. Anyway,
we
find out that, okay, we have to go in, we have to take down S.H.I.E.L.D., and Nick Fury's like, okay, but we're going to take it down, but we're going to try to preserve as much of this. And Captain America's like, fuck that, we got to destroy everything. We got to destroy this we got to burn this to the ground.
We're not a part of the system, man!
Yeah, so at this point,
no, they got to destroy all of it. So
it's all out war on S.H.I.E.L.D., leaving nothing left for Hydra to get their hands on. So, yeah, they managed to sneak their way in. Pretty much the plan is that they have to take down those 3 big ships first, because the whole big plan that the Senator has come up with is that in order to sort of maintain peace and balance, you have to get rid of all the individuals that could rise up against you or pose a threat. So pretty much these machines have been programmed to eliminate, 10 million people?
yeah.
10 million people's DNA has been registered into this machine, and as soon as it's operational, every single one of them gets shot where they stand. That's the plan. So, in order to override this, it's up to the superheroes to get these 3 computer chips, put 1 into each ship, because there's 3 of them, and that way when they align, the only thing that they're going to shoot at is each other. Thus ending the threat.
That would be a really awesome final level if they were to make that into a video game.
We're giving you hints here, video game.
I don't know if there is a game to Winter Soldier. I know there's a Captain America, the first Avenger video game. I know there's that. I don't know if there's one for Winter Soldier. At least I don't think there is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that's it. And they have to go. So that's it. So Captain America has to go in, take them out, and Falcon is given cover, and
yeah, they managed to break into the communications room
and give a speech.
Yeah, Captain America gives this very long speech to everyone saying, I have news for all of you. S.H.I.E.L.D. has actually been taken over by Hydra. The person next to you is probably a Hydra member and is planning to kill you right now. I'm telling you, if you love America, you rise up against them and stop their evil plans.
Okay, in the time it took you to make that speech, first off, you already have announced where your location. Second off, they have you're surrounded. You're surrounded by unfriendlies, and it won't take them any time at all to get to your location and shoot you in the time that it is taking you to say this entire speech. What the hell? But anyway.
But at the same time, there's people, agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. looking at those Hydra agents, and they're like, nope, you ain't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's creating chaos.
Yeah, so now everyone is fighting each other. Nobody really knows who's on whose side, and yeah, everyone is holding a gun to everyone's head. But thankfully, Captain America knows what he's doing, so he and Falcon manage to get on the 3 ships and start the slow process of trying to switch out the chips while the things are in mid-flight.
Yeah, and they have to do this with all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, the bad guy, the senator guy, he has invited all of the heads of S.H.I.E.L.D., all those 4 heads.
The secret people,
Yeah, has invited them all into one place, to sort of congratulate,
the launch of this giant battleship.
Yeah, because they think this is a good thing. They think they're eliminating terrorists, but then once Captain America reveals no, they're actually going to be eliminating dozens of possibly innocent people, then they realize what the guy's plan is all along, and then he pretty much turns them into hostages, saying that, hey, I could easily destroy any of your countries with the flick of a button if you don't cater to my demands.
Mm-hmm.
And then the most shocking, most awesome thing happens. The middle-aged, female diplomat suddenly starts kicking his ass. She's doing all these flips and stuff. She's knocking the shit out of, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents there and, gets all the guns and stuff. And I'm like, what?
It's so random, but it's so awesome!
And then they ruined it.
By revealing that it's Black Widow.
I still say it would have been more. I agree with you.
I know.
It would have been more awesome if it was if it was the actual woman, and she's like, because she was trained by Shield.
Yeah. No, Doug and Rob Walker said that they said it would have made no sense, but they would have loved to see it that way, and I'm in total agreement.
I agree.
It would have made no sense, but I wanted it to be that way.
I mean, on the one hand, yes, it makes sense that Black Widow would, go undercover and would, be the one to do all that stuff, yes. But it's just so weird because I'm not saying this is shocking because she's a woman. I'm saying it's shocking because she is a middle-aged woman who is basically a suit. Mm-hmm. You don't expect someone like that to, kick ass like that.
Exactly.
That's what made it great.
It's like Margaret Thatcher just comes in and starts beating the shit out of people.
I am sick and tired of these motherfucking Hydra agents in motherfucking Washington, D.C.
It's like Elizabeth Warren comes in and just starts beating I knew My roommate, who's a political science major, just walked in on that.
Absolutely loves Elizabeth Warren and just hearing
But it's a good comparison! And she would do that if she could.
Right, so anyway, moving on. So she manages to take the guy hostage, and what they decide to do is basically to, make it known to the public that Hydra has been alive all this time. They leak all of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s secrets straight onto the internet. And I mean, everything. And,
it was even trending on Twitter. She was like, oh, it's trending.
Yeah. And it's especially hard for Black Widow, considering that I know we don't know much about her backstory, but from what we can tell is that she's done some bad things. And now all of that is on the internet for everyone to see.
They even hinted that she's done bad things even in the Avengers movie. Loki even mentioned it, I know you've done some horrible things back then, and they hinted that back then. So here it's they're kind of bringing that back up again, and it's now everybody knows what she's done and all the horrible things,
Yeah, it actually is a tense moment when the guy says, oh, you're gonna leak all the secrets on S.H.I.E.L.D. You realize you're exposing yourself, and she, hesitates for a brief moment, and you're thinking, wait, is she actually not gonna do it? But she does. So, because she's badass like that, and she don't give a shit. Well, she does, but at this point, it's for the greater good.
The greater good.
Yeah, so she does that, and in order to unlock all the information, they need the approval of the 2 higher-ups, so enter Fury.
Yes.
And we get to see his scarred eye.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly isn't that bad to look ahead.
No.
Not really.
I guess maybe he doesn't want it distracting people or something.
Or to protect it, because they think, oh, you just said what, you can use it for scanning. And
Plus, it kind of confuses me because he mentioned that he lost an eye, but he clearly has an eye. Maybe it's a fake eye?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
This is comic book science. It is a real eye, but they could still.
Well, they did a shitty job on the fake eye.
Oh, there.
They left the scar over. I'm just saying. Ignore me. So yeah, from here on out, it's a huge freaking epic battle. There's like lasers and guns shooting everywhere.
People are jumping from place to place.
Yeah, Captain America showing little to no regard for the laws of physics.
The Winter Soldier comes in, and they have a fight, and it's a.
Falcon's just being fucking badass. So fucking badass.
Eventually, Captain America gets everything together. The ships start shooting. They're starting falling, and Captain America and Winter Soldier are fighting against each other. Captain America's like, "I don't want to fight you, Bucky," and Bucky's like, "I don't know who you are." Ah! And they're fighting, and the ship is still falling as they're fighting. And eventually, Buck. I think eventually, like both Captain America and Bucky escape from the ship and
fall to their watery grave.
Yeah, again, laws of physics don't apply.
Yeah. Oh, and the shield, it just gets thrown in the Potomac.
Yep, it's gone. Bye, Shield. It's cool. We'll make them another one. It'll magic itself up in the next one.
they got replacement shields in Shield.
Yeah.
Like,
and again, we have another fake out because we see Captain America. He's like beaten to a bloody pulp. He's just like been through an explosion. He's fallen into the water, and you're thinking, oh no, he's gonna drown. But whoop, Bucky saves him.
Mm-hmm.
So he wakes up in the hospital. Shield is now pretty much in ruins at this point. Like the freaking ships, they all shoot each other. They all explode. They crash into the base. And oh, I should mention, there is one scene that I found, at this point, I find it highly unnecessary, but I think it probably serves relevance maybe in a future film. Where
that?
Falcon fights that one SWAT guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's this one
Yeah.
guy, he's like given predominant screen time. Like he's like the head of a SWAT team. And you always see him, like he's revealed to work for Hydra. He's like always the last guy to go down whenever they're fighting them. And they actually like put aside a scene where like he fights Falcon. They don't even really show much of them fighting, but they still show him fighting. And then when one of the ships crashes into the building, the guy presumably dies in all of the falling debris. But later on, we see that they actually rescue his charred body, and he's still alive. And
Comic books!
so I'm thinking, okay, this guy lived for a reason. He's probably going to come back as some bad guy we don't know yet.
And he's gonna have like this battle armor and crap and something.
He'll be
like that.
Darth Vader.
Or something in the Marvel universe that I don't know yet.
Yeah, and also as far as everyone else is concerned, Nick Fury is still dead.
They think he's dead. They even have they go to his grave site near the at the very end.
Yeah, like he has one right there, and like at this point, I think he's pretty much decided to go completely into hiding because now he's like burned his eye patch and pretty much any form of ID he's had. He puts on like a hoodie and sunglasses and stuff. And he tries to get like Captain America to join him in hiding, but he won't do it. Tries to offer Falcon to do it, he won't do it, and Black Widow has her own agenda to do, aka her own movie to go off and star in.
And so Captain America decides that he's going to go find Bucky, and he's going to help Bucky, restore his mind. And Falcon's decided to go along with him. And where do they start? In the next movie.
Yep.
Whenever that is.
Yeah, whether that carries over into the Avenger movies or not is yet to be foreseen, but I guess we'll see.
But wait! We have stuff after the credits!
Of course we do.
Yeah.
2 things. So, the first thing is we see a secret base of Hydra. I don't know where this is or how it even exists, but it's there. And we see like these German scientists talking about, how S.H.I.E.L.D. has fallen and all of their members have been exposed and are now being either rallied up or killed. So they're saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. For those that died, we're going to bury them so deep, pretty much erase any trace of their existence of ever having to do
Bury them
this.
so deep, not even their ghosts can escape.
And those who are alive will like try to recruit them or at least have them killed and done away with the same way. They go through a room and you see that friggin' staff thing that the aliens were using from the Avengers.
Yes.
That had like pieces of like Tesseract in it or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so that's a plot point. And then they go into another room where these twins are being kept. One is running really quickly around the room and apparently is suffering from giganticism or something. Oh, that's what it looked like. It looked like he was like turning into the Hulk, but he kept reverting. And then the one's a girl who had levitating these blocks. And they're asking what becomes of the twins, and they're saying like, we have much to do in the future regarding them.
Yes.
So, and of course, all you comic book nerds know exactly who these two are and when they're going to show up. So I don't think we need to even say that. And then the very last scene is, this was the first one, earlier scene, because it turns out that Captain America, being famous as he is, actually got his own wing in the Smithsonian.
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
The U.S. Air and Space Museum.
Yeah, the Air and Space Museum. He gets his own wing with all like his old costumes and all his crew's old stuff and all these memorabilia and everything. And they have like a little wall that's dedicated to Bucky, who was the only soldier to have died in battle. And they show Bucky there undercover, rediscovering who he is. So I'm assuming at this point, since Hydra is mostly like discarded, he probably is in the process of regaining his memory. So I guess that'll be the whole plot of the next Captain America movie.
And speaking of that, do you think Stan Lee is ever going to get his job back? Seriously, are they going to bring the costume back?
I bet you there's going to be. I think there needs to be a video, or I think there is a video, one of the two, of every single Stan Lee cameo in every single Marvel movie. I bet it's on there if I look it up on YouTube.
I'm sure if you edit it together, it probably makes
X-Men,
a day in the life of Stan Lee.
From the first X-Men movie up to now, up to the last, up to Captain America. Although he'll probably cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy somewhere.
Of course.
So yeah, that was Captain America the Winter Soldier.
But I still liked it though. I mean, despite the flaws that you've pointed out,
it is
still an enjoyable movie.
Here's the thing. It is good. But I don't think it is as good as everybody has been making it out to be. There are so many people just like, oh my god, it's great!
They're like, Hell Hydra!
It's like, it's good. But it's not that good.
Well, I agree. It is pretty cliched out the ass. Like, in terms of, like, comic book cliches and everything. But I personally enjoyed it a lot more, because, I mean, I guess because with the first Captain America movie, like, you look at the others that came before, I mean, in that first generation, Iron Man was the shining beacon of Marvel movies at that point. So when you look at that one, it's like, yeah, that was good. It's much better than other Captain America's movie, but it wasn't quite as good as that Iron Man. And then you look at Winter Soldier compared to Thor the Dark World and Iron Man 2 and 3, and this one is like infinitely better. So I guess that's why I enjoyed it more, is because it had none of the stuff that I complained about in the other movies, and also because like in my opinion the battle scenes were just great. Like it was the perfect amount of action. It was perfectly placed. It gave us what we wanted. It showed the characters' strengths. It showed them off. Everyone had like their badass moments. To me, that is like the the highlight. Like, that's how perfectly blended the movie was. I mean, yes, the cliches were a glaring problem, but I felt like everything else kind of outweighed that.
And they flawlessly, well, not flawlessly, but pretty close to flawlessly introduced us to Falcon and really made us love him.
I also felt that, I think this is kind of why I kind of like the Captain America movies a little bit better than some of the other than some of the other Avenger movies, Avenger-related movies, is because it's not like with Iron Man where it's like, oh, he's this guy, oh, he's this rich guy, he's a bit of an asshole, but like, oh, but he's our asshole, but we love him anyway. And it's not like Thor where it's like, oh, he's trying to fit in, and he has this girlfriend, and worrying about, and he has to like worry about her and stuff. It's like all this. It feels like there was a lot of clutter with a lot of the stuff. With Captain America, you don't really see a lot of clutter as far as like worrying about all the, making sure the side characters get the screen time. Making sure this plot point is stressing a lot of these plot points, which are really. They think it's necessary, but it's not really necessary. Here it just feels a lot more evenly paced, like you said.
Yeah,
and
when you had
just has a nice flow to it.
When you had Captain America: The First Avenger, for one thing, it was definitely better than all the other Captain America movies that had come before it.
Yes, of course, obviously.
So, but I mean, this was essentially supposed to be a lead-in movie. It was supposed to be the one that, getting everybody hyped for Avengers. They could have easily just sort of not put a lot of effort into it, but they did. And it was actually really enjoyable. They really had a straightforward story. I mean, yes, it was not without problems, but it's still, rather enjoyable. And I mean, this was essentially the same way. And, there were some things they easily could have made, done to it to make it suffer like all other sequels.
They could have made it campy as hell.
They could have.
Especially
and they
the
could
first
have
one.
done, there were so many things that could have made this movie unwatchable. And like I said, there are problems with it, but it's still enjoyable. It's still good. And it's still, like, I would remember this movie.
Yeah, honestly, I think the weakest part of it is probably the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's he's just an assassin.
Yeah, seriously, if they had spent less time keeping him in the shadows and more time actually having him do something,
and give him more of a sense of an arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got something, but it wasn't enough to really go off of. Like, it only, his whole thing only works if you saw the first Captain America movie. If you didn't see the first Captain America movie, yeah, they do show it in flashbacks, but it's like
you're gonna have you're gonna have little to no connection to the character.
Yeah, I mean, you'll remember him if you're a comic fan.
Oh, yeah.
You know that Bucky's the sidekick and he comes back, but other than that, they keep shoving him in there, and it's like, yeah, we get it, Winter Soldier and stuff, but it doesn't really pose much of a threat except when the plot needs him to. So.
But yeah, like I said, if you had given him more to do and spent less time holding him in the shadows when everybody already knew who he was, you would have had a stronger character.
I don't know, maybe, he's obviously going to remember more in the next movie, so hopefully they give him something better to do. Because, I don't know if he'll still be, killing people, or if he's going to, try to, keep on hiding, or whatever. But something better than what he was doing in this movie. So, yeah. Oh, I should mention, one thing I forgot to mention is I am actually glad that they tied up that one loose end, the girl he left behind from the first movie.
Yeah, I remember that, and I like that because it's like, yeah,
it's a very bittersweet scene, but it's it's definitely worth having in there.
Yeah, because because it turns out that she helped found S.H.I.E.L.D., and of course she's really old right now, And he goes to visit her, and she's all happy to see him, and, tells him about, stuff that's happened since then, and how she feels bad for him, that, he didn't get to live, or, really, live his life, or, have a life with her and all that. And then, they unfortunately had to make it sort of heartbreaking by revealing that she pretty much had Alzheimer's.
Mm.
Yeah, because, she, starts coughing, turns away, he goes to get her, a tissue, and then she's like, oh my god, Steve, is that you? And I'm like, oh.
Well, I think it's more dementia, but that's semantics. It's pretty much, her memory is going.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see that they at least remembered some things from the first movie to tie up.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if they still didn't get around to Red Skull, I'm still not convinced that he's dead.
Of course, he's got to be alive.
Because he got, and I agree with it, because he the Tesseract, but we know from the Avengers that the Tesseract is kind of like a portal thingy. Mm-hmm. So he might have been teleported into that other world. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Red Skull with Thanos. I guess the guy from when they showed the end of the first Avengers and they showed that guy. I bet you he's with that guy.
Maybe he is the guy.
Mm. No. Thanos is a different character altogether. Okay. Right. But I wouldn't be surprised if Red Skull is with them because it's a teleport. I don't think he's dead. He's just teleported to another world.
True. Oh god, can you imagine Loki, Red Skull, and Thanos? Oh Jesus.
I want to say Dark Avengers, but that's not it.
I think that's kind of what the Avengers should be, is that they're fighting, all these multiple enemies versus one big one, unless it's really that big.
Marvel, make it!
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they will. Anyway.
So yes, Captain Avenger Winter Soldier. See it. Yeah, honestly, out of all the sequels that have come out so far for the big Marvel 4, this one is definitely the best so far. So much better than Iron Man 3.
Way much better than Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm. So yes, and so until the next sequel or next movie or next crossover, whichever comes first.
Yes.
Alright, I'm Catsy Critic.
I'm One Sat Morn.
I'm Y2 Staller.
And oh god!
Quick guys, get behind this shield I magically found!
Why didn't you take your helmet off?
Because the shield will protect me!
Well, that was avoidable.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who chose to oppose his shield must yield.